my name's Katie, and I'm an art therapist, and I am going to show everybody what an ink blot is. And just a quick overview of an ink blot. I don't know if you've heard of it before. It's one of my favorite things to do when you're kind of just seeing if you want to try art and are feeling intimidated. My favorite thing about it is that you don't use a paintbrush. You're not using anything besides the symmetry of the paper, as you'll see after our 3-step process here. And the paint and the paper do the work for you. And what I love about that is it's just a way of seeing what kind of art you can create abstractly. And I kind of call it an ink blot. That's not even what it is. It used to be an old tool for assessing, and it was with ink, and it's actually paint. But I just call them ink blots. I use them a lot in my work and with people that aren't really sure if they like art. So that's what I thought I'd start with, because it's pretty simple as far as we're just going to do 3 steps. And then I'll have everybody share theirs and see what they think. So it won't take very long, but just bear with me because I've never done this virtually. And I want to make sure everybody's on the same page. So I might pause and kind of repetitively ask you guys if you're there and if you need anything else. So I will set my camera up. I had it perfect and I need to adjust so I don't knock stuff over. Okay. And then I'll move out of the way. So one thing to keep in mind is I don't want anyone to feel, here's me again. I don't want anyone to feel intimidated about materials. I know that the invite mentioned acrylic paint. I mean, that's kind of a must just because watercolor and other things like that don't smear the way we want. If you have printer paper, that will work great. The only thing that I want to let you know if you have printer paper instead of a heavier cardstock is that I'll show you when we go through our steps. You just don't want to use a ton of paint because the only problem is if you're using printer paper, it will do the ink blot wonderfully. You just, if you dot a lot of paint on there, it'll get everywhere. And I don't want anybody to have to make a mess. So I will show you the amounts that I use for the amount of paint just to kind of help you navigate through that. And then if you make another one, you'll kind of see once you make your first one. We'll just go from there. I just don't want to confuse anybody. Okay, so as you can see, I have black paper. Again, I've done these a lot. I like using black paper. That's not to tell anybody that their white paper is not going to be magical as well. It's just the paper I had, and this is heavier. So I'm still going to use the small amounts that I'm going to tell you in just one second. But the first step, simple as ever, is you're going to fold your paper. You can fold it long ways, but I recommend doing the book style sideways because then you have more room. If you do it vertically, you're going to have to layer your paint skinnier, and just for simplicity, let's do it that way. So fold your paper in half, like so. And I definitely wrote notes so I don't forget to tell anybody anything. Okay, so, yep. So we're going to fold it. All right. And then the biggest thing just to remember is you can pick either side. I recommend doing the right side. That's just because I'm used to it. But the main key here is that when we start putting paint down, do not put it on both sides. You're just putting it on one. And you'll see why. Because basically, I don't know if anybody remembers how they would cut a shape, from the middle of the page, then open it. That's kind of the same element here. So I have my paper folded, and the other note I wanted to say is, you're going to look at my paint. Don't worry if it doesn't look like yours. Don't worry if it's in a different kind of container. That doesn't matter. You don't need, because mine are in tubes, but some of them are going to be in different things. I don't know. Acrylic paint comes in tons of different cans. So the thing you need is just to be able to dot it on the paper. So I will show you and then I'll hold it up. But all I'm doing is I'm just going to start. Glad I have my stuff propped up here because, okay, so here's the first dot. Okay, I use maybe a dime size. And don't worry about color. Don't worry about trying to make a design. I see that green. You're the only person I can see, but that's great that I can see you. So yep, that's perfect. That's the kind I use also. You're just gonna dot it a little bit. And when you do that, the key for me when I make my ink blots is I do the small dime size and I layer colors next to each other. It does not matter if it's a circle, like as you'll see, I can smear it a little bit. There's really no method to how you're dotting it. You can do streaks. You can go like, I'm going to try to show you at the same time. I don't want to block. So I'm just putting this pink over this purple. It fell over a little bit. That's totally okay. Don't think you have to make perfect shapes. In fact, the more variety you have on there, the more interesting. Yep, that's perfect. The more variety of colors and just little dots everywhere, or lines, or I'll even do a squiggle to show you guys. So like, I'm just gonna, well, I try to do just like a random blob. I call them blobs. And then keeping in mind, you know, we're gonna fold this, so just try not to use a ton and don't do it near, like super near the edges, but you're only staying on that one side. And I'm going over that teal with the pink. I'm gonna get some white. And I know it seems weird, but it doesn't matter what colors, and it doesn't matter, you know, really where it is on the page. I just find that when you layer the colors, they smear together to be really interesting once we do the final step. So here's mine so far. You can put blobs anywhere on this, put it anywhere. Just be careful right here, like very close to the edge, because when you fold it, it's gonna smear out if it's too close to the edge. It's not the end of the world. If you have stuff on your desk, like newspaper, then I wouldn't worry about it. Just try not to put, you know, a ton of it, because when it smears, it'll just get everywhere. And we can make another one if we do one and then you find like you wanted to try different combinations. Okay, let's still see. So now I'm just kind of drizzling a little bit of gold. What was I going to do? I'm using a little bit too much, but that's because I want to show you how many just kind of different shapes and squiggles you can make. And the other cool thing is, if you guys, you know, I'll still give you some more time, but if you guys, once we do the final step and you look at it, when you make an ink blot, as soon as you open it, if you're kind of like, oh, I want to add more stuff to this area, once you open it full, you can add more and then fold it again. So that's really cool. And I'll show you guys that after we do the first one. Okay. I hope mine looks okay, because I'm using too much paint. Is everybody doing okay? Okay. Woo.
I'm gonna look.
Okay. I'm gonna leave mine alone. I'll wait until you guys.
Is this too much ink on like one page? Is that not enough?
No, that's good. That's a good amount. That's great. And I love
I only
that you
have
layered
3 colors.
Yeah, no, too much would be close to what mine is, but mine's cardstock, so it's gonna hold up better. But this is a little too much, because I just I wanted to show everybody the variation of, really, there's no method to the shape or anything like that. It's just the more you layer the colors side by side or on top of each other, the more interesting of design you'll get. And we can go, like I said, it doesn't take long. So if you want to do another one, we can after you see what it looks like. How's everybody doing? Okay, just let me know when you think you're satisfied with the colors. I know it's weird to not really know, but that's part of the reason I like this exercise, is you kind of think you'll know what it will look like, and you'll be pleasantly surprised, because I know right now it's just kind of chaotic. I don't want to cut anybody off, but if everybody's ready, if you're satisfied with your colors, just everybody kind of give me a nod or a yes. Okay.
We're good.
We're good? Okay. Again, it's weird to do it virtual, so I don't want to cut anybody off. But again, we can do another one if you feel like you want to spend more time with your colors. So the one thing I do request is that I want to fold them and then open them together. So here's mine. All we're going to do is fold that page over, and then be careful, because if you do have a lot of paint, which I might, you're just going to run your hand over the fold and smear it flat. So run your hand up and down. Don't open it yet, because I want everybody to open theirs at once. So you'll feel the bumps, you'll feel like you need to smooth out your paint. Do that. Be careful for the edges. Oh, yep, I got some blue on me. That's okay. It's paint. Just be mindful that hopefully you're not, if it's on your surface, it'll wipe up. Just try not, you don't want to get it on your clothes. But if it bled through, that's totally fine. Your page is going to be full. And that's where you'll see, if we make another one, how you can do less paint. But it's going to look really cool when it's full. So I'm going to wait like 20 more seconds. Just keep pressing or, pushing down on your page, just like this.
Oh,
Sure, it's all flat. And then
well.
we are going to open them. And once you open them, I want you to look at them, of course, and kind of observe. And then after a couple seconds, I want you to put your piece towards your camera, okay? Is everybody ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, ready, go.
Well, that's nice. Your guys' are way prettier than mine.
Well, don't be discouraged, Karen. I feel like, first of all, keep in mind I do this all the time, so I knew what colors I wanted to use. But I like yours because I'm already getting excited. I want to see everybody's. But Karen, in the middle of yours, it's very like insect-like. I love the middle there. It looks like the butterfly. But it, you could try to make your dots closer to the middle, and then you can see like this would have been more connected like a butterfly if I would have done that. And when I turn it over, it looks like lungs kind of, and you can see in yours obviously better than mine, because mine in the camera you can't see as well, but there's lots of little veins. That's one of my favorite things, is like those tiny little details in there that look like those tiny bronchioles or pieces of a leaf or something with an insect wing. A lot of times they come out to look like that. So as you can see with that, that was your first one, but the more, I guarantee, like I like to joke and say they're like snowflakes, but if you do another one, even using the same colors, even thinking you put the dots in the same place, it's going to look different. So if you want to, we can do another one. But basically that is entirely the ink blot. And my other thing about it, I'm sorry if I repeat myself, I love it because you're not using a paintbrush. And it just, there's another way of doing this that's a little more complicated, but this is the start. But I've found that I love doing it because the paint is in control ultimately, and I love just mixing color and being able to fold this and then boom, and like you guys saw when we did the layers of colors and blobs, you didn't really know what the outcome would be, and then it's something really neat and something you didn't plan. As I dropped mine. So yeah, that's the ink blot in a nutshell.
If you want something to be more on the outside or inside, you just put so if it's on the outside, you just want it more towards the edge of the paper, or
yeah, let me show you. I'll move my,
not that you want to plan, but I'm just asking.
No, I know it's so hard not to, seriously. No, you can plan it to an extent. I get that, and I will show you. So yeah, some of the key areas, like I was showing, and I mean, I say I can plan it, and I don't. But yeah, if you go closer, it's my page on here. Okay, if you go closer to the middle, that's ultimately going to connect your symmetry in like a butterfly type way. And then if you go around the edges, just, you know, you can watch me or you can make another one. You'll see that it might look different because the way I did it, it was out diagonally and turned into wings. I mean, I didn't really plan it, but I'm just kind of used to making that shape. But let's say I do it this way and I'm making it more in regards to the edge. Be careful because you're going to get paint on your hands when you do it that way, but that's totally fine. So I'm not going to fill in the middle just to show Karen maybe what this will, and I've never done it this. The other thing I meant to add is if you want to take it to another step and you want to put, say you love your ink blot and it's right after you open it, the paint is still wet. If you want to keep it on a canvas and you have a canvas, you can just pick it up, turn it over, and, you know, rub it, and it will imprint on the canvas. And I've done that before. So like I did all around the edge and didn't fill in the middle, and that's what it did. It kind of looks like some sort of face. So if I wanted to, and I can go back in here and I can fill in those areas that didn't have paint. Now that I see what the border is, I can go back in and only put it on one side still, because if you just add paint on both, it'll just be mushy. But I'll go back in and add some color and see if it changes that. Sometimes I take pictures of it before I add more paint back in, just as a fun way to see how it changes. Now I added more colors to that middle section, and it's definitely bleeding over, but we'll see what it looks like now. Okay, so it kept like the outside and then it filled in the inside. That looks like a skeletal structure somehow. I like to turn it over too and see, like, yeah. I think now, even though I'm looking at it backwards, do you guys see a head? That's amazing. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. I mean, it's just, once you get started, I'm loving that people are excited, because it's a simple way of just, okay, I can just add these colors, and then every time I open it, it's something different, and it's always symmetrical. So I want to do a long ways one too. I've never honestly done it that way, so we'll see if that makes a different dynamic. Also, another fun fact, I'm full of fun facts, is if your paint, you hear it kind of making that silly noise. If you see that it's splattering like that, that could be a really cool effect. I've learned that is when you're layering the colors, if it splatters like that, don't be sad because it'll actually make a really cool texture on your paper. So use it. If it's almost out, still use it because it kind of sprays in this like kind of like an airbrush effect.
Black.
I hear paint. I'll just do blue. I talk out loud, sorry. So how's everybody doing? Easy to get distracted in my own painting. I just make sure everybody's doing okay.
Oh, come on.
Oh, okay. This is like kind of weird, but the long ways is kind of cool. It's like different because it's not, it doesn't have as much room to go anywhere, but it's like a very, that one looks like it has like an eye. And as you can see, all three of mine were just completely different, as you'll look at yours too. Not only the colors, just how they mixed. I mean, they're the same colors, but the colors and then the way they take over the paper, I just think it's so cool that every single one is different. If you really want to get fancy, I have a tip. That, you know, obviously we just use the whatever the paint cans and jars, and I can't think of words right now, the bottles. If you get the little bottles, it kind of looks more like this, but it has like a spout. And here's an example. Not entirely, but it's just what my husband has in the garage. So it's they're clear plastic bottles that Hobby Lobby or Michael's sells. And you'll see them in like the paint area. They're just clear plastic bottles, and they say like paint bottles. Anyway, I use those for my other stuff, and what you can do is you could have, if you want more control, you can put your paint in there, this acrylic paint. You would just put it in there with a tad bit of water so that there's a little bit of room to be able to squeeze the paint out. And then you could do like really tiny intricate dots with bigger dots or more controlled squiggles if you wanted to just paint that way or to make an ink blot. And that's what I've done before too. That's if you want to take it to the next step, just if anybody's going to take up a new hobby of ink blots. It's a great tool for this kind of thing. I appreciate everybody trying something new, and I love your feedback. This was so much fun to watch people how we can, which is virtually. It's so neat that I can see your guys' stuff. I appreciate you guys, and thanks for joining our virtual class.
Yeah.
Awesome.